So, Bibi Netanyahu just sent an official apology to Qatar for the failing Mossad assassination of the Hamas leader in Qatar, which ended up in killing a Qatari civilian. And let's just say that way, it looks like Donald Trump basically told him, you better say sorry because you really hurt their feelings. So let's watch it, especially the part where he coughs. I mean, it can't get any better than that.
We had a phone call today just to make it clear. I said to the Prime Minister of Qatar, Israel was targeting terrorists, wasn't targeting Qatar. And of course, we regretted the loss of the Qatari citizen, wasn't our target. And I very much appreciate President Trump's proposal to have a trilateral body, the United States, Israel, and Qatar, to work out respective grievances. There are quite a few. But if we could try to mitigate them or put it on a different footing, I think that'll be good for everyone.
Well, when you're a terrorist sponsor state who harbor and hide the biggest terrorists in the world in your country, I guess you can't really pretend to be surprised when the Mossad come and does a few things in your neighborhood. Let's just call it that way. Now, by all means, I condemn the killing of any innocent civilian, and we should always aspire to minimize civilian casualties. And I know that for a fact, as someone who was an officer in the Israeli Special Forces, that Israel is doing everything it can to minimize civilian casualties. But you need to understand, when it comes to modern countries and combating terrorism, there is a commonly shared list among all these, Western nations, which comes and says how big the terrorist is and how big is the potential collateral damage that can happen by taking him down. And then based on how big the fish is and how many innocent people might die, you decide, should I go with an airstrike? Should I go with a special forces team that will go and raid the place? Should I go with an agent assassinating him? Should I go with a pager operation, and etc.? Or should I even not do it right now and wait for a better chance? Now, you have big fish that the moment that they show a digital fingerprint or someone hears them and know where they are, sometimes the government will come and say, just doesn't matter what, do it now. Imagine if you could have taken down Hitler with the risk of maybe killing 10, 20, 30, even 100 people around him. Would your government do that? Taking down Hitler, stopping World War II, stopping the Holocaust, the death of millions of people, tens of millions of people. What would be the acceptable collateral damage that you're willing to take, civilian casualties? Now, some might come and say, none, absolutely, it's wrong. And it's very cute that you say that. I can understand where that is coming from. We should never rejoice on the killing of someone else. And it's always easy for you to say, but what if it's your child, your wife, your mother? Then everything looks very differently. But that's when we have emotions dictating over logic and the right thing to do. Because, okay, so you did not take down Hitler now, but now there is 6 million Jews who were murdered in the most horrific way. Gay people, gypsies, World War II, starvation, famine, destruction. The world almost collapsed. Western civilization almost completely went back to the Stone Age. So you come and say, okay, well, luckily, we don't have these emotional people in the decision-making room. Same thing with Nazi Germany. If it wasn't for the generals in Great Britain when it was great, and in the United States that came and said, we're not done until every Nazi establishment is destroyed and that ideology is completely crushed, then we would have been still dealing with Nazis right now. I'm talking there is still Nazis, but I'm talking Nazis in power and etc. But look at it today. Germany is one of the most peaceful, greatest countries on the face of this earth. I live here in Germany. I can say that for a fact. It's a great country. So how did Germany become a great country from being one of the worst, one of the most horrific countries where German school teachers would go and just shoot Jews in the back of the head and push them into the trenches? German citizens will grab Jewish babies and smash them on the rock in front of their mother before they go, and they gas them all and take the hairs and the oil from their skin to make soaps and to make shoes and jackets. Like, imagine how evil and dark that was. And that all was eliminated thanks to very logical, very strong men who stood and said, it's not over until we say it's over, and we're going to go and finish the job. So coming to assassination of Hamas leaders, Israel had the opportunity and they went for it. And I tell you, where did it go wrong? And it might not, many of you might not like to hear that, but the reason that this assassination failed is because Israel put a very high bar of humanitarian standards. They knew that they were in the building, but they didn't want to go and kill anyone around. So they shot a very small missile that will go and just take down that particular room or floor where they thought they were, unknowingly that they might have been on the floor under or even in an underground bunker, leading to the fact that the operation actually failed. So now these terrorists are still walking. Now, if all of you out there that are saying that Israel is committing a genocide, that Israel is an evil state, that Israel doesn't discriminate between civilians and Hamas terrorists, well, let me tell you this. Israel have shot more guided missiles into Gaza than the number of casualties in the Gaza war right now, meaning that a missile that could easily kill 50 to 100 to even 500 people if it's targeted on crowded population, either Israel is just terribly bad at shooting these missiles, or they're doing everything they can to minimize the casualties, all the way to wasting very expensive ammunition, knowing that it might not kill the targets that they want to kill because they might hit and hurt Ahmed or Abdul or Mustafa or Munira or Samira, which are innocent bystanders that are walking around. And here in Qatar, some would argue and say that for such big targets, like the entire leadership, the entire surviving leadership of Hamas, Israel should have went with a bigger missile and just completely taken them off, and that would have finished the job. Again, some big fish like Osama bin Laden, he comes out, America will just take him straight away. And that's what they did. They send the Navy SEALs to go and raid the compound and kill him. One of the reasons that they probably did that is, first of all, to confirm that it was really him. Second of all, there was some kind of a personal vendetta there. So I guess, these guys were really hot and making it look sexy. And, we took him down. Someone put his boot on his face after we eliminated him. But also to confirm the body, that it was really him. So you want to have a human agent there that confirms the body. And on top of that, I highly believe that after mitigating all the risks involved in that operation, the United States realized there is innocent people there, his children, that have done nothing to be born into such cruel family. Maybe even his wife, maybe she's a complicit, maybe not. But in general, knowing what we know, knowing how capable I think it was a Navy SEALs Team 6, knowing how capable these guys are, this is something that we can do without just shooting a missile into that building. And like I said, also, the idea of confirming with Osama bin Laden was really hard to find him. But there is now, every now and then, a big shark that comes out, a very big terrorist, that your government will come and say, you know what, we know there's going to be collateral damage. We know we might have diplomatic, problems with that nation, and we're going to go and take them. I was once involved in a fierce battle against a team of terrorists and special forces from a very bad country. And the reason that me and my friend ended up fighting them face to face, and in that battle, there was a Yamam legend that died and another soldier that died. So we ended up losing soldiers because the Mossad knew about the location of these terrorists before they came into Israel, but decided not to shoot, but decided not to let the Air Force take them down with a guided missile, but just wait for them so we can ambush them. And then things kind of went sideways, and it was a very big battle that lasted a few days, and very, very precious human beings lost their life in that day. So, sometimes you really need to think about, like, what's the price you're willing to pay in order to wage a humanitarian warfare. I know many don't like hearing this, but the Mossad pager operation on Hezbollah was probably one of the most humanitarian counter-terrorism mission in the history of mankind. To be able to take so many terrorists with so little collateral damage is just something unheard of. Imagine if they would have had to shoot 5,000 guided missiles on each one of these terrorists. How many dead civilians you'll have then? Imagine if they'll have to send 3,000 special forces raids to go and take down all these Hezbollah operators hiding in civilian population. How many casualties you would have had for Hezbollah and for Israel. So that just gives you kind of an explanation of how difficult these things are. But anyway, guys, this is a video that I just wanted to laugh with you about how Bibi coughed. And it kind of looked like it was not very genuine, which I completely understand, because Qatar is a very evil state, terrorist state. They're buying everyone, bribing everyone, and they're paying their way to destroy Western democracy, America, Europe, Israel, and anywhere they can touch to promote their jihadist radical agendas. Hence why many other Arab countries banned Qatar and don't have ties with Qatar and don't really like Qatar. Either way, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, don't forget to do the like, share, subscribe. If you want to support this channel, go check my Patreon and you can find practical, direct ways how to support my work so I can keep doing these videos for you. But until then, don't do anything stupid. And in general, just don't hide terrorists in your house. If you do so, don't be surprised when some Mossad agents will be knocking on your door and things will not look very good for you. Just a friendly advice, take it or leave it, up to you. Stay safe, see you next time.